busy day for me. I spent a couple of hours doing some Medicare training and had a coaching call with a Facebook ads coach. And so now here I am ready to go live with you guys and bring some training that I feel it's something that I'm really passionate about. It's something that affected me personally in business early on. And so I wanted to share it with you today. I am Andrea Garrettson. I have been an agent for over a decade now. I have sold everything from mortgage protection, final expense, health, employee benefits, you name it, I've sold it. I've generated leads by door knocking. I set appointments. I've had an appointment setter. I've cold called. So I've done it. But today we're going to be talking about one of the top reasons agents are losing money in their business. That they might think it's one thing, but it really is another thing. So let's just go ahead and dive in. I don't like to take long on these Thursday trainings, but I do like to bring some value. So today we'll cover like the top reason why agents are losing money and how to pinpoint exactly what the issue is, and then some ways to plug that hole. So if you're live, give me a hashtag live. If you're on the replay, give me a hashtag replay so I know you're here and I can say hello. This training's for anyone that is an agent from the beginning to the seasoned. If you're not doing this in your business, you definitely need to take a look. So a little bit about me. Like I said, I've been an agent for over a decade now. Love the industry, love what it has to offer. There are some things about the industry that I am not a fan of, and I'll work every day to try and improve that for agents. Hey Marlon, thanks for joining. And so for you to know, I am not a recruiter nor a team builder, so you don't have to worry about me trying to recruit your agents if you invite them into the group. That's not what I do. So feel comfortable knowing that your agents are safe with me. I will not bombard them with opportunities. So early on, I got my life license. I got my PNC license in 2008. Got my life license in 2009, somewhere like that. Anyways, a couple of years into the business is when I've talked often about when my dad got diagnosed with cancer. And like I was traveling a lot at the time because I live in Mississippi. We don't have all the carriers that other states have. And so I traveled a lot into Louisiana to write business. And, you know, it was nothing for me to put 1,000 miles a week travel. And so when my dad got diagnosed with cancer, it just kind of, it stopped me in my tracks, right? Because suddenly, you know, I realized there was more to life than really just traveling and selling insurance. And so I can remember I had been so busy because the IMO that I was with, like, it was always about going to a meeting and going to this and buying leads and running all these appointments. And I was doing all that. I was working the system to a T. And I was writing business and it was going issued. But I couldn't figure out for the life of me, like, why was my bank account still showing up short each month? And, you know, like I was so busy doing all this traveling, I'm the first to admit I wasn't paying attention. And I can remember, like, I literally can see myself sitting at my desk upstairs and, like, I was like, I got to figure out what's going on. Why is my money not growing? And so, like, I can see me with that piece of paper, like, started pulling expenses and pulling my sales and issued paid, and I took a look. And it was like, oh my gosh, I'm not making money because, like, I'm spending so much to make what I'm selling. And at that point, I knew that I would never be in that situation again because I would do a better job of tracking my numbers. So, like, at that, I become obsessed with numbers. And if y'all were part of my challenge and my workshop this past week, you knew I had some Facebook ads. Like yesterday, I literally spent like an hour analyzing the numbers on the Facebook ads to see what it was costing me, cost per click, to see like was it feasible to run that ad. Because that's the problem. When we're not paying attention to the metrics of our business, then we can think that the problem is in one place, but the problem is in another place. And so for me, I believe that the top reason why agents are losing money in their business is that they're not treating it like a business. They don't know the metrics of their business. They don't know their conversion rates. They don't know if they're getting a proper return on investment when it comes to leads. They don't know all these areas that are so vital when it comes to running an insurance business. We get so caught up in trying to write that next application and, get another one issued, but we don't go back to the basics of knowing, are we really making money? And if we're not, where's the problem? I mean, you have this customer journey that you take this lead on from the moment that you pick them up as a lead and to set the appointment, and from the appointment you hope to get to sit with them, and from the sit you hope to write an application, and from the application you hope it goes issued paid, and then you hope it stays on the books. So that's your whole customer journey. And you have to know it, if you're having a problem, at what point in that journey is the problem. And we don't always realize, we think our only cost is leads, but we're forgetting about all those other costs that are associated with travel. And maybe now that we're in a new stage of writing insurance and we're doing more from home, that might adjust. But you have to look at the wear and tear on your car, and the food, and all the conferences, and all the investments that you're making into the business. You've got to make sure that you're getting a proper return on your investment. So, when we like the fun part, we get that dopamine hit from writing an application, and that's the fun part because we're making money. But we got to take time to really look at our business. And so, like I said, you started that journey of leads to appointment set, and you need to look at that conversion rate and make sure that the number of leads you have, you're getting good conversion on setting appointments. Because if you're not able to set appointments off those leads, then you may need to work on your phone script. And a tip I can give you when it comes to a phone script, you want to be relaxed. You almost want to picture yourself lean back in a chair and you're just tossing a ball up in the air as you're talking on the phone to them, because they can pick up on your energy. And if you're relaxed, they're going to relax, and it's going to help the conversation go a whole lot easier. So that's just a quick tip when it comes to appointment setting. If you're not good on the phone, you practice. You practice looking in the mirror, going over your phone script, handling objections. You get better at setting those appointments if that's where there's a break in the conversions. And so then you take them from appointment to no-show. Okay, if you don't have a proper conversion rate there, if you're setting 10 appointments and only 3 are actually showing up, then you need to do a better job of tying down the appointment and solidifying it. And maybe it's that you add, I always tell people what I'm going to be in. Okay, I have you scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Write that down. I have them, write it down that I'm coming, time, date. And I'll ask, is your address on the mailbox or is it on the house? Just have them give me a description, because all you're doing is painting that picture in their mind of you coming to their house so that they don't forget. And I always say, I'll be in a little brown SUV so you'll know it's me when I pull up, and laugh, add some humor to it. But I can tell you that using that type of script, my no-show ratio was not very high because I did a good job of tying down the appointment. And so then we go from appointment to actually writing applications. Okay, so we have to look at the number of appointments that we're actually sitting with, and how many applications are we writing. What is our close ratio when it comes to closing sales? I can tell you that my close ratio was somewhere around 70 to 75%. But I have a lot of years in the business. Maybe yours is better. Maybe yours is worse. But, you have to know whether the problem is actually in your sales. Because so many times we think automatically that we just need to sell more insurance. But that might not be the case. So, if you're not getting the close ratio that you want, that's when you practice. You got to practice. So it becomes ingrained in you, and you don't have to think about it anymore, and you know what to say when it comes to objections, and you know how to handle them. You know how to address them prior to them ever bringing them up. You get a sales process and that is comfortable to you. Because the way I sell insurance might not be the way you sell insurance. But there's going to be a skeleton that we all use. Because we're going to warm up and connect with them. We're going to identify their needs. We're going to provide them options, and we're going to proceed. But how I did that in every home was a little bit differently. But there was always a framework that I had in mind. And when we start skipping over steps, that's when we start losing sales. So, really looking at the number of appointments to the number that you actually close. See where that percentage is. See what that conversion rate is. Because maybe you do need to work on your sales. Maybe you do need to work on your presentation. And then another big one is going from, you've written the application. Now how many are actually going placed? Meaning they're getting approved and they're going on the books with the insurance carrier. I can tell you industry average is somewhere around 70%. If you're below that, you're writing some bad business, just to put it bluntly. And, we get so excited and we want to help everyone, but you've got to slow down and ask better questions. You've got to find out what's really going on with their health. Customers lie. Plain and simple. They will lie to us. So you got to find out what's going on, ask questions, take your time to really evaluate, and understand that, price isn't always the end all. Like, it might be cheaper with this carrier, and we want to be like a martyr and be the best we can be, but if we don't have a solid chance of getting them approved, is it better to write them a policy that's a few dollars more and we know we can get them approved versus like trying to save them some money and not getting them approved? Like, that's something I had to learn because I wanted to do what was absolutely best for the client. But if we're trying to provide them protection, the best thing we can do is making sure that we can get them approved. And we're writing them with a proper company. And we're reviewing the underwriting guidelines and really understand the policy so that we know whether we can get them approved or not. Because the worst thing, it's not a good feeling to submit it and it not go approved. Like, you're like literally throwing things up against the wall and hoping they'll stick. That's not the way to run an insurance business. You got to write good, solid, clean business. Making sure that your applications are in proper order. Obviously with e-apps that makes it a whole lot easier, but if you're still doing paper apps, making sure that you scrub those apps and they're clean and they're going to go issue paid. Because I was talking to a lady earlier in the week on a call, and her placement rate was well over under 70%. And she's wondering why she's not making any money. One, she's not right. The business is not good. You can't make money off of business that doesn't go placed and stays on the books. So take your time. Really find a policy that you think that you can get them coverage with. I understand people lie and things come up and you're not going to get everything placed. but we have to do a better job for ourselves and for our clients of placing them properly. The last conversion rate that I'd look at is looking at your persistency. Are they staying on the books? Because that's how we really build up that residual income, is keeping them on the books. So are we doing a good job of keeping them on the books? And we talked about email marketing is a great way that you can keep that connection with your clients. That's going to help your persistency rate, is staying in contact, not always trying to sell them something, but just staying in contact with them, letting them stay in their memory. So, how can we, and I went through basically how we could fix some of those things. That if we have, first of all, we have to make sure that we're giving ourselves enough shots on goal with our lead flow. We can't get 10 leads if we're trying to write $10,000. Most likely it's not going to happen because we don't even have the opportunities. We're not setting ourselves up for the opportunities. And then we put that pressure on ourselves that we've got to convert because we're not starting off with the proper opportunities. So making sure that you got a proper lead flow, making sure that your phone script is solid and you're booking the amount of appointments that you need to. Making sure that your no-show ratio is not out of whack. Making sure that you're converting on your sales presentation. Making sure you're writing good, solid business so it's going placed and it's staying on the books. So when you look at all those numbers, if you're not making the money that you want to make, you can identify where the problem is and you can focus on getting better. Because you might be a top-notch sales converter. You might be converting at 90%, but you're not getting enough shots on goal. You're not buying enough leads. So you need to up your lead flow. Or maybe, you're good, you're selling good, but you're just not getting enough appointments. Maybe it's that you need to work on that phone script. When I was taught early on in the business, it took about 1,000 appointment, appointment setting to actually get good. And it was always such a joke, how fast can we get through those 1,000 dials so that we become more efficient on the phone and become comfortable with having those conversations on the phone. This stuff is not sexy or fun or whatever, but it's a necessity to keep us in business. And I feel like a lot of agents aren't being taught how to analyze the metrics of their business. And that could be why we have a 92% fail rate. Because all we ever talk about is selling. But there's so many other points on that journey that we have to address. I have a spreadsheet that I actually put together. I'm glad to share it with you guys. If you're interested, just comment spreadsheet and I'll send you the link to it, where the formulas are already in there. All you got to do is input your data as far as your lead count, your appointments, and it'll convert it for you and show you what your conversion rates are, so you can identify where is the problem if you're not making the money. Because if all of them are good, then you know that you're capable of scaling. At that point, you can see what your return on investment is, right? And if you know for every $100 that you sell, you spend on leads, and you're making, $1,500, then, and if you're trying to get to $10,000 in business, then you know the amount of leads you need to buy to get somewhere around that. I knew that in final expense, I averaged about $1,100 for every 100 I spent, about 11 times my investment. For every dollar, $11 in sales. For mortgage protection, it was about $1,700. For every 100 I spent, I generated $1,700 in sales. Yeah, that's low. lower than the national average, but I also know that I live in the poorest state. And so then you work on, your return on investment. Maybe you're not presenting the right offers. Maybe you need to tweak them where you're adding just 10% to the premium. There's so many areas of the process that we have to look at besides sell more insurance, write more applications. You can write applications all day long, but they got to go issued, and people have to pay for them. Or you're just going to be in a whole new set of problems. Because trust me, you can't outright chargebacks. You can't. You've got to write good business. So if you want a copy of that spreadsheet, just comment spreadsheet. I'll send it to you in Messenger or whatever. And if you have any questions, comment it in the questions. It's a really short training this week, but you can tell I'm very passionate about the numbers of our business and helping agents succeed and stay in business, because I do know the opportunity it is. But if you're not being shown how to analyze it, you may think it's one problem when it's another. So have a great day. Have a great week. I will see you again next Thursday and in the group for the live training. I go live every Thursday. Okay, I sure will, Charles. When I get off the call. I go live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time with a training. And I hope y'all have a great weekend. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye.